Hello students, good morning. In the last class we were talking about queues, right? And we had also said what are the operations that are performed on queues. So basically the operations are the same in all the linear data structures, that is your arrays, stacks and queues, but the names are different. So in queue the insert operation is known as enqueue and the delete operation is known as dequeue, right? So we have already learnt about the enqueue operation in the last class. So now we will be learning about the dequeue operation. So what do you mean by dequeue? As we already said, it is to delete the elements. So how do you delete the elements? Yesterday we had inserted 3 elements 10, 20 and 30, right, using the enqueue operation. Q of 0, Q of 1 and Q of 2. So this contains 3 elements now. So this is your friend and this is your rare, right? Now when we are saying delete the elements, as we said, deletion always takes place from the front in a queue. So 10 will be directly removed, it comes out. So which are the elements that remains here? That is your 20 and 30, that is Q1 and Q of 2. So Q1 is your friend and Q of 2 is your rare. This is after deleting 10. Now if 20 is also deleted, the only element that remains is 30. So this is your Q of 2 and this becomes your friend as well as your rare. Okay, so this is your element remaining after you delete your 10 and 20. Now if you delete 30 also, then you have nothing, that is your minus 1. So this is how you are going to do, and once you delete the element Q of 0, it is incrementing the friend pointer by friend is equal to friend plus 1. Now it is pointing to Q1 and then again increment friend by 1 and the element 20 is deleted. So friend is pointing to Q of 2 and again increment friend by 1 and friend becomes Q of 2 and the element 30 is deleted. So what is the algorithm for this now? Algorithm to delete an element from a queue. So as we said, queue delete from the array, we are giving it as queue. Element ELE is the element that is to be removed and n is the size of the array. So step 1 start, step 2 if friend is equal to minus 1. If friend equals minus 1, then what happens? It is understood that queue is empty. So print queue is empty if and come out of the queue, because there are no elements to be deleted. If at all if this condition is false, that is friend is not minus 1, it may be 0 to any number, then we are going to delete the element. Go to that position that is mentioned, Q of friend equals ELE, that is the element is removed, and then we say sixth step, if friend is equal to rare. If friend is equal to rare, then what happens? It is a single element, right? Friend is equal to minus 1 and rare is equal to minus 1. So the step that we had stopped at is 6. So this is your step 7, step 8, step 9 is else. If it is not, friend is not equal to rare. Friend is equal to rare when only there are no elements in the queue, or else it is friend is equal to friend plus 1 and you stop. So friend is equal to friend plus 1 if there are still more elements to be deleted. Friend will be equal to rare when there are no elements. When it is a single element and it is already deleted, then we have a friend and the rare as the same value or the index. So this is how you are going to delete an element if it is a single element. And if you have more than one element to be deleted, then you have the algorithm in this way. Q of delete, Q, ele and n, that remains the same. And step 2, if again friend is equal to -1 means then the queue is empty. There are no elements to be deleted. That also remains the same. Queue is empty. Then exit from there, or else you are going to delete the element based on which element, while how many elements you want to delete. While friend is not equal to n-1, that is till you reach the last element in the queue. Remove the first element. Q of friend is taken out. Then if friend is equal to rare, then friend is equal to -1, rare is equal to -1. If it is a single element and they both are the same, all the elements have been deleted. Else friend is equal to friend plus 1 and stop. So only thing is you are going to give this condition while friend is not equal to n-1 if you want to delete more than one element from the queue. So this is how your dequeue operation works. Then what are the applications of your queue? Again, just a single sentence, single word is enough. You need not explain this also. Application is, it is used in simulation. It is used in round robin method for resource allocation. Maintenance of print services. And multitasking. So these are the applications of queues. So all this is about your linear data structure. And we have one more that we are supposed to do, that is the linked lists. Now what do you mean by linked list? Linked means, for example, as we said, your arrays, stacks and queues. Array, stack and queue is nothing but your static structures. Now what do you mean by static structures? Means we have to declare the space that we require in the beginning itself. The declaration part, when we are saying integer a of 100, then we are saying that 100 spaces, we are reserving 100 spaces in memory for storage. So at the time of declaration, we may not be using all these 100 elements. It may be just 10 elements or 20 elements. It may be 50 elements also. If we are using only 50 elements and then the rest of the 50 elements, the space that is reserved for the rest extra 50 elements is a waste of space. So that is the disadvantage of your static data structures. But if you are saying declaring the space as 50, and if you have used 40 elements, again space of reserved for 10 more elements is wasted. But if you have reserved for 10 and if you want to, or if you are reserved for 50 itself, and if you want to enter 60 elements, again you cannot do it in a static data structure because there is no space allotted for this. So that is a disadvantage. So for overcome this disadvantage and to use more space or add more space, then we use the linked list. Okay, so if it is, even if you are creating or reserving more space also, it is a waste of space, and if you are using less space also, again it creates a problem. So they came up with a linked list. So linked list, as we say, is a dynamic data structure. Dynamic data structure. That means that at the time of execution, if you want to increase the size, then you have an option for that. You can increase the size. You have created only 2 data elements, and at the time of execution you want to add 2 more and make it into 4. Yes, you can do it. This is an option that is provided in dynamic data structures, that is in your linked list. Okay, so definition for your linked list is, a linked list is a linear data structure. A linked list is a linear data structure that has one or more nodes. So here we call that storage space as nodes. Okay, linked list contains a set of nodes. So what is a node? Node is a memory piece. Okay, a node is a, we call it as a memory chunk, that is a piece, and it will have 2 parts. So if this is your node, then you have, it is divided into 2 parts. One is your info and one is your link. Info means what is the data that you are going to store here in this part. You are going to store the data in this part. Link contains the address of the next node. What is the data you are going to contain in this part? So this address, the address of this element is present in this link. So info field contains the data of this present node, and link contains the address of the next node. So these two are the parts of your node. And when we are saying a link, it may contain a link, or a linked list may contain more than one node also. For example, if you are showing 2 here, this is your node 1. It contains an info part and it contains a link part. Again, one more node here. This again contains an info part and a link part. This is your node 2. And again, third node, this is your node 3. This contains your info and link. This is how you are going to link the lists. So what are the various operations? As we said, this is the data. If it is 10 is stored here, and this is the address for the next node, and this is the address for the next node. So here, if it is the last node, it will not have any address of the other node, because that is the end of that. So what are the various operations that you are going to perform on a linked list? Again, this is an important question. What are the operations performed on linked list? In linked list, as we said, if you do not have a list, you are going to create a list. So creating a linked list becomes the first operation. Then traversing. You already know what do you mean by traversing. Traversing means going through the list once. Before any operation is performed, just going through, seeing what are the elements that are present till you reach a particular list that you want. You are going to go through one after the other. And again, inserting an element into your linked list. And whenever there is insertion, again there will be a deletion also. So deleting an element. And then again, the normal everywhere, whatever the operations you are going to perform, that is, you are searching for an element in the list, and merging or joining together of 2 or more linked lists. You can do this option also. You can merge 2 or more lists. These are the operations that you are going to perform on your list. And then again, types. We have different types of linked lists. Types of linked lists. There are 3 types of lists. that is your singly linked list. They may ask you this question for 3 marks. Singly linked list, doubly linked list, and circular linked list. Again, this double and circular, we had it in the queues also, right? In the same way here also we have singly linked list, doubly linked list, and circular linked list. So let's go for the singly linked list. Singly linked list. Now what is this? This is a simple list that allows you to perform the operation only in one direction, that is from your starting till you reach the end node. Start node to the end node in only one direction. Here, as we said, each and every node has got 2 parts, that is your info and the link. Info field and the link field. Info field contains the data of that node and link contains the address of the next node. So link field of the last node, as we said, it will be a null. Okay, it will not contain any address because that is the end part, last one. So last one will not contain any value. So if you have your, as we said, your 3 lists, this is your info, 3 nodes, info and link. This is your node 2, info and link. This is your third node, you have your info here. This will be null because there are no other lists further to that. Okay, now how do you represent it in memory? Memory representation. Memory, as we said already, it contains info field and link field. You have to mention this first when you are using or giving the explanation for your memory representation. Info field contains the data of that node. And link field contains the address of next node. And give the figure here. This is the data, this is the address. At the top you are going to write info and link. Here you have start, this is connected here. So this is your node 1. This is 20, the address. This is your node 2. Look at the directions that we mentioned. This is your 30 and this is your null. This is your info and this is your link, that is your node 3. So memory, this is the memory representation of your singly linked list. So start is a pointer that holds the address of the first node. Okay, and before this you do not have any other links. And the link to the start is usually, it is stored in the class. That is provides an interface for the resulting data structure. For if the link or list is empty, then start will be set to null. The last node, as we said here, it is a null, is called the end node and it contains null. You need not have continuous memory locations also here. We can store it wherever you want because we are going to have the data as well as the address of the next field. So it may be anywhere, it may need not be continuous memory locations. And then we have your doubly linked list. Doubly linked list. So this is a list that contains again links to the next node and the previous node. Because as we are saying, as the name suggests, it is a doubly linked list. So it is a list that contains links to next node also and the previous node also. ಹಿಂದಿನದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಂದಿನದು ಎರಡರದ್ದು ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. But the doubly linked list again requires more space because it is containing the address of two different things here. Right, so it requires more space. But and also their operations are also expensive. Two different types of addresses are stored, it is expensive, but where they are very easy to use, and also they are fast and easy to access the data because you have both your forward data and the reverse data also. But traversal is in a linked list, singly linked list, it is a unidirectional in a single direction, whereas in a doubly linked list you can go both forward and backward. So if you will understand much better with the figure for this. So this is the figure. As we said, we have your start which stores the address of the first list, and see to this, you have three parts here in a doubly linked list. One is your link, one is your info, and one is your R link. This is for your first node. Okay, this is your link, and again in the same way you have your second one also. Right, this is your 20, you have your addresses, two addresses here. This is your left link, and this is your right link, and this is your info. So you have, from this it goes front, and from here it goes back. And again if you go for the third link, if this is 30, this will be null because it doesn't have any further data. Again from here you have a forward one, and from here you have a reverse one. Okay, this is your node 1, node 2 and node 3. As you can see, you have both your forward direction and the reverse direction also. So this is known as your doubly linked list. Start has got a link to the first node, and the first node has two links. One is your left link, has the address for the start node, traverse in the backward direction, and right link has the address of the next node for forward traversing. Similarly, every node contains two pointers. One is your left link and the right link that points to the next node. Left link always points to the previous node, and the right link points towards the next node. So the right link of this is your right link of the last node contains a null value because you do not have any other link list further. So this is about your doubly linked list. And next we have your circular linked list. So it is again a type of a linked list in which the first node's left pointer points to the last node. Let us give the figure and then explain. Start, you have it, the link for the first node, right? This is your 10, this is your info, this is your link, and again from here you have the link for the next node, that is your 20, info, link, and again 30, info and link. This is your node 1, node 2 and node 3. So this last link, now as we were saying, in a circular linked list, the first node's left pointer points to the last node. Last node's next pointer here, it comes to the first node. If a circular list is only of one node, then left and right pointers points to itself. So it will be the first node as well as the last node. That is only if you have a single list. So programming in circular list is a bit of a challenge but the coding is simple, and it has less number of steps compared to your normal linked list because you do not have your null pointers in this, because the last node is always connected to the first node. So this is how you are going to do your give the memory representation of your different lists, that is your singly linked list, doubly linked list and circular linked list. And this is about your linear data structures. And next we have your a bit topics related to your garbage collection and all those things, and the non-linear data structures also. So what are the applications of your linked list that we haven't done? So applications of linked list. Linked list, it is used to represent stacks and queues. It is used to represent stacks and queues, used for memory management, and then it is used for tree representation. It is used for tree representation, and it is used to find the sum of two long integers. So these are some of the applications of your linked list. Let us go for your nonlinear data structures in the next class.